What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel. And today we're going to wrap up the 2018 NAB AFL trade period. It was one hectic period that happened over the course of the last 10 days, and I tell you what, we got a lot to get through. So let's, without further ado, just discuss and see what impact these trades will have over the coming years, and especially in 2019. 10 days of rumours, 10 days of nonsense, 10 days of nervousness, and 10 days of an emotional roller coaster that all of us Port fans went through, not knowing whether or not Chad Wingard will be traded, how the Pollock deal would end up, who are we targeting, and what's the best deals we can possibly get for the club. And the other thing too is moving up the draft order, trying to contain Isaac Rankin, Rosie, Lukosius, any of these types of players that are going to be going high into the draft, and trying to see whether or not we can pick them up. So we did achieve certain things that will make a lot of Port fans quite happy, but there was a couple of things as well that did happen that a lot of fans won't be too happy about. And it was sort of a neutral trade period that we had, and I'll go through each of the trades that happened for the club in a second, but just like an overall view of it, I put the question out on Instagram saying, thoughts on our trade period. A lot of people were happy about it, giving A+, A's, B's. They were really impressed with the way we fought for each trade and how we came out of most deals better off for it. And then there was other people who were still emotionally attached to players. You got players that you support, and I completely understand that. We all know my love for Travis Boak. And to be honest, if he was traded, I'd be absolutely distraught. So I can completely understand your frustration and emotional anger towards the club for trading your favourite player. But something I've stood by over the course of the last couple of years is players come and go, the club doesn't. And I think once we start to get the pre-season rolling and really move into 2019, you'll develop a new favourite player, and someone will do something fantastically well, and you'll end up loving them just as much. So it's not all doom and gloom, but yeah, I can completely understand. So let's go through these trades and the players we acquired and what the impact they're going to have for next year and onwards. We started off the trade period by acquiring Scott Lysette from West Coast straight out the bat, and I did a video about it, stating what impact he'll have and welcoming him to the club. So yeah, that was I think very early on in the trade period. And we acquired his through free agency, so I think he's on a four-year deal now. And as I said in my other video that I did, he's going to be a great addition structurally as well. The first real trade that happened for the club was Jared Pollock. So very early on in the piece, we all thought maybe this one would drag out a bit, but North Melbourne were very accompanying to it and ended up being a little bit of a surprise trade, really. And take your pick on it if we want it or not. But Jared Pollock, Jasper Pittard, and pick 48 went to North. For pick 11 and the future 4th round pick came to us. And I don't see the need for the 48 to go. But my understanding is we wanted to get so high up in the draft that any picks after basically pick 30 are useless. And we've acquired that, and I'll mention our draft picks in a second. Yeah, for that one in particular, I was surprised Jasper Pittard went after all the talk that's saying that he was going to stay. And for him to just end up going in that deal was a very big surprise. And the other surprise too was the fact that that happened so early on in the morning too, which was quite really just, it was an insane trade from us as a perspective of, we're really just throwing Pittard in there for the sake of it, and pick 48. And I know a lot of people will be happy that Pittard's gone. So we do thank Jasper's service. So then we did a pick swap. And it was an interesting one which effectively threw out the rest of our draft picks, which was Port Adelaide traded picks 11, 23, 30, 49 to Fremantle. And we received pick 6 and a future 3rd round pick. So you've noticed that so far we've acquired a lot of 3rd round picks, and I'll get to future 3rd round and 4th round picks. I'll get to that in a second as well. So that effectively helps us move up the draft pick 6. And we still had the North, our original pick 10 too. This is the biggest one of the lot. Hawthorn received Hawthorn received Chad Wingard and a future 3rd round pick. Port Adelaide received pick 15, Ryan Burton, pick 35, and a future 4th round pick. Massive trade, which I said it on Twitter. We won. Easily won that trade. Hawthorn didn't pay overs, but what I mean by we won the trade is the fact that we got so much for a player that has given us a lot. And by all means, do not degrade Chad Wingard and all this. He's wanting to find and fulfill his football dream by improving his game somewhere else. There's no real bad blood between the club, he said in an interview. Whether there's more to that, who knows? And it may come out, in the coming days, weeks, months, years. We'll never really know. But Ryan Burton is a player that obviously finished 2nd in the Rising Star last year. 3rd was Power Pepper. They're in the same draft pool. They're both very talented players. Burton's got speed, he's got class, he's got skill. And he could definitely move up to a wing position and really take on Jared Pollock's role. And even into the forward half, he's known to kick a couple of goals too. So it'll be interesting to see how we use Ryan Burton. But I really like the way we went about that trade and making sure Hawthorn didn't get away with something like taking a star like Chad Wingard. Then, straight after that, the next over, basically, Port Adelaide received Sam Mays and pick 5 from Brisbane, we traded pick 6, pick 35, and a future 3rd round. So that 3rd round that we got from the Fremantle trade, we effectively traded off to Brisbane to get one spot higher in the draft, which will accompany trying to get Rosie, Rankin, and Lukosius, as I said, if they're available. Sam Mays is another one that will be another running player. He used to playing halfback and on across the wing. I reckon he might be a good choice to play up half forward. Could be a replacement or play alongside Travis Boak. He's got a good right foot, and I reckon the highlights package that the club put out didn't do him any justice at all. But I really feel that he can bring something, as can Ryan Burton, who they both South Australian boys. Ryan Burton was a Port fan as a kid, so that's sensational to know he's effectively coming home to a club he's supported, and he might give it a little extra, considering we'll get around him as a family, as a Port Adelaide family, and really help him out and make sure he feels at home. Because if you're being the way Hawthorn just said, look, you're part of this trade, go after it, and then for us to say, look, yeah, we'll take you, you're going to be a star, and it will be a bit demeaning towards him. And I feel that if we can get around him and really support him, he might even become better than what everyone thought he was going to be. Then the final trade that happened on the deadline day, and a fan favourite and one of the nicest guys ever I've met as a footy player, Jack Comps, unfortunately was traded to Gold Coast, and we got a future 4th round pick and paid for basically a packet of chips. And I know a lot of people won't be too satisfied about that. The people are more angry about the Jack Comps trade than they were the Chad Wingard trade, which surprised me a little bit. So now that questions whether or not that will affect anything to do with our depth in the defence. It will be tough to see how we can cope, and hope there's no injuries in our defensive line. And I hope Gold Coast serve Jack very well, because he deserves a good opportunity. And that's what the main reason he went, was for an opportunity to play more footy, because unfortunately our defenders were just a step above him in terms of form and breaking into the side. So I wish Jack all the best, because I reckon he's a good player, and he's a good, courageous player, and a great man to have around your football club. So, the draft picks that we will have in the 2018 NAB AFL draft, picks 5, 10, 15, and if we want to use it, pick 85 is there. The other thing too was the future picks. So we received them because we've got father-son picks coming out next year, which is, I'm pretty sure it's Taj Schofield, Trent Burgoyne, and Jackson Mead, I'm pretty sure his name is. Obviously the sons of Jared Schofield, Peter Burgoyne, and Darren Mead. So they'll be very exciting young talents to get in next year with our future picks, and we've hopefully have developed enough points. Still don't know how the point system works for the draft, but nonetheless, that's going to be a good prospect for all of them to come to the club that their dads played for, and that's the main reason we're picking up those picks. Other thing too is we didn't trade Carl Amon or Jake Need. Jake Need's out of contract. most likely be delisted. Carl Amon wanted to get to Victoria, St Kilda and Hawthorn did show interest, but unfortunately with bigger trades to come, he unfortunately missed out for his sake, and now he's got a point to prove, and maybe this is a wake-up call for him to develop his skills a bit more, hopefully get some consistency into his game, and you never know, maybe he could take that position of Jared Pollock and really push and make a name for himself now, and I really think he has the potential to do that. It's just a matter of whether or not his body can hold up, if he can fix his skills, and the fans can get around him, because I know a lot of people don't really like him or like him as a player and really want him effectively out of the side. But let's get around the new recruits. Let's show some support. Hopefully now going into the draft, we're in a very strong position to pick up a couple of very good players, a couple of good youngsters, and hopefully we'll cover our deficiencies. And I'll just take a moment to say Jared Pollock and Chad Wingard will be massive losses. Don't underestimate that, but I think we have the capabilities to cover them. And going forward, in the long term, this will benefit the club. Short term, yeah, I don't know. When I say that, I don't mean to say, look, we're just going to conk out and finish in the bottom 4. I still strongly believe we'll finish in the top 8 next year. It's just a matter of whether or not the game plan will change and the coaching strategies that we implement going forward into 2019. Long term, though, it looks pretty good for the footy club. Short term, we'll just have to wait and see. But I really feel like we've done a great draft. We've got great position in the draft, and we've done a fantastic trade period where we've come out effectively on top, even gaining Scott Lysette, who has been lost in all of these trades. And I really feel next year could be a very strong and consistent season if we get everything right. Thanks for watching, Port fans. Really appreciate all the support, and a big thank you to everyone who has subscribed. We got to 900 subscribers. I think it's like 80 to go until we hit 1,000, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you to everyone who has commented, liked and subscribed over the last year and a half, 18 months. I look forward to bringing you more Port Adelaide content across the off-season into 2019. So if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that button. And yeah, that's it from me. I will be back next week with another video. Thanks very much for watching, Port fans, and my name's Anthony, and as always, count the pair.